This story happened back in 1962. Mrs. Padavatton lived in Washington with her son Tommy. She was employed at Indian Embassy with a satisfactory salary and pension rights. Meanwhile, her mother, Mrs. Jones, is living alone in Trinidad. One day, she missed her daughter so much that she decided to call her. On the phone, Mrs. Jones persuaded Mrs. Padavatton to come back to Trinidad to live with her. She asked Mrs. Padavatton to quit her job, pursue the study bar in England, and become a lawyer in Trinidad. In return, she will provide Mrs. Padavatton $200 a month as maintenance expenses. At first, Mrs. Padavatton refused, but then she agreed due to Mrs. Jones' offer. Mrs. Padavatton quit her job and flew to England. Mrs. Jones gave Mrs. Padavatton $200 in West Indian currency, which is 42 pounds. But Mrs. Padavatton thought the $200 was supposed to be in US dollar currency, which is 70 pounds. However, Mrs. Padavatton just accepted the money without any protest. Then, she took the bar exam. She passed all examinations in Part 1. But Part 2 is still to be taken. As time passed by, Mrs. Padavatton was having a hard time paying rental for a room where she lived with her son Tommy. Therefore, Mrs. Jones bought a house in London for Mrs. Padavatton and her son to live in. The deal was for the remaining empty rooms to be rented out. The rental payments would cover for Mrs. Padavatton maintenance expenses, which is 42 pounds, and also the house maintenance. The balance of the rental payments must be given back to Mrs. Jones. Years passed by, Mrs. Jones did not receive any amount at all. So, she decided to bring the case to the court. But Mrs. Padavatton won the case. Mrs. Jones was upset with the court decision, so she decided to appeal.